The Cursed Giant Prince and the Lost City.
Long ago, in the heart of a vast and beautiful kingdom, there stood a great city called Eldoria. Eldoria was known across all the lands as a place of peace, prosperity, and happiness. Its people lived joyful lives, celebrating every season with grand festivals and songs that echoed through the forested hills. But this harmony was shattered one fateful day. Many years ago, a dark curse fell upon Eldoria, brought about by a terrible injustice. The story was told in whispers among elders and children alike. It was said that a powerful giant prince named Gorath, once a kind and noble ruler, was transformed by a curse into a fearsome giant with a heart filled with bitterness and sorrow. The curse's origin was rooted in an ancient betrayal. Gorath had been deeply in love with a beautiful princess from a neighboring kingdom, and their love promised to unite not only their hearts, but the fate of two great realms. However, jealous rivals plotted against the prince and his beloved. Through deceit and spite, they placed a terrible curse upon Gorath, a curse that would strip him of his human form and drive him into exile. As the curse took hold, Gorath became a towering giant with a monstrous appearance, terrifying the people he once protected. His once gentle heart was now chained by anger and pain. The curse spread through Eldoria like a shadow, bringing misfortune and fear to the city's streets. Crops failed, rivers dried, and the people began to lose hope. With the giant prince driven away, a dark magic sealed the city gates, trapping its people inside a prison of illusion. Eldoria vanished from the world's memory, hidden behind an impenetrable veil. Generations passed, and Eldoria became known only in legends as the Lost City, cursed and forsaken. Yet the light of hope still flickered. In the city lived a young woman named Elara, a princess as kind and beautiful as the dawn. Despite the shadow looming over her home, Elara's heart remained pure and brave. She refused to believe the dark tales and vowed to find a way to break the curse that held her city captive. One quiet morning, as the soft rays of the sun kissed the rose gardens, Elara heard a tale from an old storyteller. He spoke of a secret buried deep in the ancient forest, a forgotten magic that could restore the giant prince's true form and lift the curse. Determined to save her people and the prince she had never met but longed to free, Elara set out on a journey into the unknown. The path was perilous, filled with shadows and secrets, but she carried with her a heart full of love and hope. And so, the story of a cursed giant prince, a beautiful princess, and the lost city of Eldoria began. A tale of love, courage, and the magic that could heal even the deepest wounds. Elara stood at the edge of the palace gardens, watching the golden sunlight filter through the canopy of blossoming trees. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and wildflowers, but beneath the beauty a quiet sadness lingered. Eldoria's streets were empty and silent, the songs of its people muted by the curse that weighed heavily on their lives. The old storyteller's words echoed in Elara's mind. The secret to breaking the curse lies deep within the enchanted forest, guarded by ancient magic and hidden from those who seek it with impure hearts. Determined, Elara wrapped a silken cloak around her shoulders. She carried nothing but a small satchel filled with essentials, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. Her footsteps were light but resolute as she passed through the palace gates and entered the forest path. The enchanted forest was unlike anything Elara had ever seen. Towering trees with silver leaves shimmered as sunlight danced upon them. Tiny glowing orbs floated like stars, illuminating the path ahead. The chirping of birds and the whispering wind seemed alive, guiding her deeper into the woods. But this was not a place for the faint-hearted. Shadows moved at the edge of her vision, and strange sounds echoed among the gnarled roots. Elara kept her wits about her, remembering the storyteller's warning that the forest tested the strength and purity of travelers' hearts. Hours passed, and Elara's steps grew heavy. Just when she feared she might lose her way forever, she came upon a clearing bathed in moonlight, though the sun still graced the sky. At its center stood a shimmering pool of water, perfectly still and clear. Elara knelt beside the pool. As she gazed into the depths, the water began to ripple, changing her reflection into the face of the giant prince, Gorath. His eyes held deep sadness, but also a spark of hope. She felt an unexplainable warmth in her chest, a connection that transcended distance and despair. A soft voice seemed to drift from the water itself. Only one who loves without fear can break the curse. Only the kiss of true love's compassion can restore the heart trapped by darkness. Elara's resolve grew stronger. She knew what she had to do, to find Gorath and show him that love could heal even his cursed soul. As night fell, the clearing glowed with an ethereal light. Elara took a deep breath and pressed forward toward her destiny, unaware that the eyes of the cursed giant prince were watching her every step, his heart stirred by the hope she carried. The deeper Elara journeyed into the enchanted forest, the thicker the trees became. Twisted branches intertwined overhead, forming an almost impenetrable canopy that allowed only slivers of moonlight to touch the forest floor. Strange noises surrounded her, the rustling of leaves, distant howls, and the soft footsteps of unseen creatures. Despite the eerie sounds, Elara pressed on, her heart steady with hope. She thought of her people, trapped within Eldoria's cursed walls, waiting for salvation. She thought also of the mysterious giant prince who, though feared by many, was a victim of a cruel fate. Somewhere out there, he was alone and tormented. Suddenly, the ground beneath her seemed to tremble lightly. Elara froze, her breath catching in her throat. From the shadows emerged a colossal figure towering above the trees. It was Goreth, the giant prince himself, but he was nothing like the monsters the stories had described. His eyes, deep and sorrowful, met Elara's gaze with an unexpected gentleness. His enormous hands, though capable of great strength, lifted her carefully so she wouldn't fear. "Elara, you have come," he rumbled, his voice a low echo that vibrated through the earth. "Why do you seek me, princess?" Elara, despite the awe and fear in her heart, found her voice. "Because I believe there is good inside you, Goreth. I believe the curse can be broken and our city restored." The giant prince looked away, pain flickering across his massive face. "I have caused the city's ruin. My anger and sorrow poisoned it. None can save Eldoria but me, and I am lost." "No," Elara replied quietly. "You are not lost. You are still the prince who loved and was loved. I will help you." Moved by her courage and kindness, Goreth lowered himself to sit beside her as though bridging the worlds between giant and human. For the first time in many years, the giant prince allowed himself a small, hopeful smile. Perhaps there is a chance. Elara reached out, taking his great hand in her own. "Together we will break the curse. But it begins with a kiss, a promise of love and forgiveness." Goreth's heart beat with a strange feeling, a warmth spreading from his massive chest to every part of his being. The curse, though powerful, began to loosen its grip. As their lips met beneath the silver moonlight, a brilliant light enveloped them both, shining brighter than any star. From that moment, the curse began to fade, and the lost city of Eldoria stirred once more, awakening from a long and sorrowful slumber. As the light of their kiss shimmered beneath the moon's gentle gaze, something extraordinary began to happen. The ground beneath Eldoria trembled softly, as if the city itself was waking from a long, restless sleep. Trees that once stood withered began to bloom. Rivers whispered back to life, and the heavy veil of darkness that had clouded the town dissipated like morning mist. In the heart of the great city, the massive gates, once sealed by dark magic, creaked open slowly. Eldoria's people, who had been trapped inside an enchanted prison of shadows and silence, emerged from their homes, blinking in disbelief at the return of sunlight and warmth. Elara and Goreth stood hand in hand, feeling the change ripple through their souls and the land alike. The giant prince's enormous form shimmered and began to shrink, his monstrous features melting away until he was the man he had once been, the noble prince with kind eyes and a brave heart. The citizens of Eldoria gathered around them, their faces bright with wonder and joy. Old men wept tears of relief, children laughed and danced once more. The curse that had haunted their lives was broken, banished by the courage and love of a princess who refused to give in to despair. King and queen, subjects and servants all looked upon Elara and Goreth with gratitude and awe. The prince, humbled by the trials he had endured, bowed deeply to the people. "My heart and my kingdom belong to you," Goreth spoke, his voice steady and warm. "And I vow to protect Eldoria with all my strength." Elara smiled, her eyes shining with hope. "Together we will rebuild Eldoria and make it more beautiful than ever before." Festivities erupted beneath the stars, the city alive again with music, laughter, and celebration. The fairy tale that once seemed lost became a new story of triumph, one that would be told for generations. And so, in a land once shrouded by darkness, love's light restored the Golden City and its giant prince. The curse was lifted and peace reigned once more. The dawn of a new day broke over Eldoria, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold. The once lost city was alive again, not only in stone and wood but in the hearts of its people. Neighbors greeted one another with laughter, Markets buzzed with vibrant trade and children played freely in the streets, their joy a healing balm after years of silence. Alara and Goreth walked side by side through the busy town square, now dotted with blooming flowers and banners celebrating the return of peace. The giant prince, now restored to his true form, marveled at the beauty rekindled around him, his heart swelling with gratitude to the princess who had dared to believe in love's power. "I never thought the city would live again," Goreth said softly, watching the sun's rays warm the ancient stones. Alara squeezed his hand gently. The curse was strong, but love was stronger. And this city carried hope. Too many hearts still beat here to be silenced forever. As days turned into weeks, the people of Eldoria worked together to restore their home, rebuilding shattered walls, planting gardens, and renewing traditions lost to time. The festivals came anew, brighter than ever, symbolizing not just celebration but resurrection. One evening, beneath a sky sprinkled with stars, Alara and Goreth stood atop the palace balcony gazing out over the glowing city. "We have been given a second chance," Alara said. "Let us guard it with kindness, courage, and love." Goreth nodded, his eyes reflecting the promise of the future. "Together we will ensure Eldoria shines forever, its light never to be dimmed again." And so the kingdom flourished, bound by the unbreakable threads of love and hope. The tale of the cursed giant prince, the brave princess, and the lost city became a timeless story, a reminder that no darkness is too great to overcome when hearts are united. Though Eldoria blossomed once more, the echoes of the dark curse lingered like a faint chill in the corners of the city. Goreth, now fully himself, felt a heaviness within his heart. The memories of betrayal and loneliness still haunted him in quiet moments. Alara noticed the prince's unease and vowed to help him find peace. "The curse may be broken, but the pain it caused will take time to heal," she said gently. "We will face it together." One evening, as twilight deepened, Alara and Goreth ventured to the ancient shrine at the edge of the forest, a place where the curse had first been cast. There they found the remnants of dark magic, a lingering shadow that whispered of envy and deceit from those who had sought to tear them apart. Alara took Goreth's hand. "We cannot change the past, but we can learn from it. The true power lies in forgiveness, and for ourselves and for those who wronged us." Goreth closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Slowly the shadows receded, replaced by a gentle warmth. In that moment, he released the final chains of sorrow that had bound his heart. Returning to Eldoria, Goreth felt lighter, ready to embrace his future, knowing that love had not only saved him but also healed his soul. Together, the prince and princess led their city into a new era, one where light conquered darkness and the strength of the heart forged an unbreakable bond. With the shadows finally lifting from Goreth's heart, Eldoria blossomed as never before. To mark the city's rebirth and the triumph over darkness, Alara and Goreth decided to hold a grand festival, the Celebration of Light, inviting not only their citizens, but also visitors from distant lands. The city's square was transformed into a magical realm. Lanterns floated like stars in the twilight sky, and delicate tapestries woven with symbols of hope and courage adorned every wall. Musicians played sweet melodies that stirred the soul, while dancers twirled in colorful robes. Alara, dressed in a gown that shimmered like the dawn, and Goreth, in regal attire befitting his restored stature, stood together before their people. Goreth's gaze met Alara's, a silent promise of the journey they had taken and the future they would build hand in hand. "Today," Goreth proclaimed, "we celebrate not just the breaking of a curse, but the power of love, forgiveness, and unity. May Eldoria shine forever as a beacon of hope." The crowd erupted in joyous applause, their cheers echoing through the valleys. As night deepened, the princess and prince led the lighting of the Great Flame, a brilliant fire that symbolized their city's undying spirit. Stories of the cursed giant prince and the brave princess who saved Eldoria were shared around the fire, weaving the past into the present. Children listened wide-eyed, dreaming of courage and kindness. The festival lasted for days, binding the community with renewed strength and joy. Through every smile and every song, Eldoria proved that even the darkest curses could be undone by the light found in the hearts of those who dare to love. As the seasons changed in Eldoria, peace and prosperity blossomed like the gardens that now filled the city. Goreth and Alara ruled side by side with wisdom and kindness, their love shining as a guiding light for their people. One crisp autumn morning, beneath a sky painted with soft amber and rose, Gorath led Alara to a glade deep within the enchanted forest, the place where their journey had truly begun. There, surrounded by ancient trees whose leaves whispered secrets of old, Gorath knelt on one knee and took Alara's hands in his. "Alara," he said, his voice full of emotion, "you are the light that broke the darkness, the hope that restored Eldoria. Will you be my queen, my partner, and my forever?" Tears of joy glistened in Alara's eyes as she smiled and nodded. "Yes, Gorath, with all my heart." The forest seemed to bloom even brighter, the air alive with magic as they sealed their promise with a tender kiss. News of their betrothal spread quickly, filling Eldoria with happiness. Preparations began for a grand wedding, blending ancient traditions with new customs born from the lessons of their past. When the day arrived, the entire kingdom gathered to celebrate the union of the princess and the once-cursed giant prince. Under a sky blazing with the colors of twilight, Alara and Gorath exchanged vows that bound their hearts and their people in everlasting love. With the curse finally behind them, the couple stepped into a future bright with promise, their story becoming a legend of hope, courage, and the transformative power of love. In the years that followed their wedding, Alara and Gorath devoted themselves to nurturing Eldoria's growth, ensuring the city's enchantment remained strong and its people safe. The wounds carved by the curse had healed, but the couple knew that vigilance was necessary to keep darkness at bay forever. Together they established the Guardians of the Light, a fellowship of brave souls devoted to protecting Eldoria from harm. The Guardians were chosen not for strength alone, but for the purity of their hearts, their kindness, and their unwavering hope. Among the Guardians were skilled warriors, wise scholars, and gentle healers, each sworn to defend the city against any shadow that dared approach. Alara and Gorath often appeared among them, teaching that love and courage were the greatest powers anyone could possess. One day, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of gold and purple, a young guardian approached the couple. "Prince Gorath, Princess Alara, we have sensed distant stirrings of dark magic beyond the mountains. Our vigilance is needed." Gorath placed a reassuring hand on the guardian's shoulder. "Then we will meet this challenge as we have all others, united and unafraid." Alara smiled warmly. "The strength of Eldoria lies not only in its magic, but in the hearts that beat within it. We are all guardians now, of each other and of the light that has saved us." The city sparkled beneath the evening stars, alive with hope and promise. And so, with Alara and Gorath as their shining leaders, the Guardians of the Light stood ready, ensuring that Eldoria's peace would endure for all time. Their story continued, not just as a tale of a curse broken, but as a legacy of love's eternal power. Years passed, and Eldoria flourished under the wise and loving rule of Alara and Gorath. The city that was once lost to darkness had become a beacon of hope, a sanctuary where dreams were nurtured and love blossomed freely. The once cursed giant prince had long since reclaimed his true self, not only in form but in spirit. Beside him, Princess Alara remained the heart of Eldoria, her kindness and bravery inspiring generations. On a radiant morning, as the city awoke to the melody of birdsong and the gentle rustling of leaves, the people gathered in the great hall for a special celebration, one honoring the day the curse was broken and peace restored. Alara and Gorath stood before their people, their hands clasped tightly, their eyes reflecting the pride and joy they shared. "Together," Alara spoke, "we have proven that no curse, no darkness, no shadow can extinguish the light that burns within a hopeful heart." Gorath smiled, his voice strong and clear. "This light is eternal. It is the love we share, the bonds between us, and the courage to face whatever comes. Eldoria's spirit will shine forever." As the city erupted in cheers, a gentle glow spread across the land, a magical light born of love's triumph, casting away every last trace of darkness. From that day forward, Eldoria's tale was told through the ages. The story of a cursed giant prince, a brave and beautiful princess, and a people who believed in the power of true love. It was a story that reminded all who heard it that even the deepest curses can be broken by kindness and courage, and that love, in its purest form, is the most powerful magic of all. And so, beneath an everlasting sky, Eldoria lived happily ever after, a timeless kingdom where light and love reigned forevermore.